It is totally phony. It's a setup. It is a dupe. It's a trick. And I am so sorry that in a way, that I have been part of a trickery that I was not aware of. But in the days after all those positive messages, one group decided to do the very opposite of what freedom is about. They decided to twist my message and to emphasize, above all else, that rules must be adhered to. Now, the reason that I didn't explain to you more fully why the rules don't matter, and I think there was a mistake made by me here, to all of those who've been loyal to New Zealand, the reason I didn't was because I thought we all understood in the Jacinda years that rules have no place where there is wrongdoing or wrong policy or a wrongful game afoot. And I had thought about that 1% tax policy. And I also knew, beyond those people that I had a lot of respect for, I knew that Kelvyn of Counterspin had been pushing that tax policy. And I went back to him and said, look, I think that's a good idea. And we discussed different policies. I felt that it would be a good idea to put that out, to offer people a way to get out of the slavery of the tax system. And I know that he has been saying that he apparently owns the party or did all the work or whatever. I haven't really read closely any of what people tell me are very abusive messages. I don't believe in abuse. I don't believe that's a way through. I don't believe that's a way to build anything but hurt and pain. And in the 7 days since the message I put out, I'm really proud of myself for staying silent in the face of non-stop abuse on the Counterspin channel against me, absolutely non-stop. People send me screenshots, I glance at them, but if they're really vile, I just don't let that energy in. It's such a low, low vibration energy. Is that what you want? Is that the way we birth a new New Zealand? Would this be someone you would want at the helm of a political party? It turns out that in approaching Kelvyn, or them approaching me to work as part of this whole transnational, really across New Zealand movement, people's movement, I did not realize that Kelvyn had done this with 2 other previous parties. And in one of them, in his resignation, he uses the line, I have to resign because people consider me too aggressive. I did not realize that he, in effect, regarded Loyal as his party or me as a mere placeholder. I think he described me in one of his many abusive posts in the last week as merely an autocue reader. But what I did with these policy statements was I would always modify them, obviously with my own intelligence. They had to accord with the values that I really felt we'd discussed that needed to go out there as well. And I put them out with such a love in my heart and such a care for this country that I really owned every single word. What is most interesting is I would write to Kelvyn and say, gosh, you wrote that beautifully. And he would take the compliment. And I remember writing the same to Hannah. Your partner writes really beautiful syntax and, English syntax. What I have found out, in fact, is that was a lie. And I know for Kelvyn, he makes a big stand on facts and evidence. In fact, the person who has been writing the speeches, and I need to thank you publicly, is Amy Benjamin, the lawyer Amy Benjamin. So all of those beautiful speeches, apart from the fishing one, were Amy's words. And I think it's really important, if Kelvyn is going to say he brings facts and evidence, that he tells his followers the truth about that.